Well, the Calgary Flames have won a hockey game in Florida after losing in a big way in Tampa Bay 2 days ago. The Flames go into Sunrise and they defeat the Florida Panthers by a 5-3 score here the day after American Thanksgiving. Mike Gould, Ryan Pike with you on this edition of Afterburner, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet, it is never ordinary. If you use our friends over at Bet365, download the app and get it on the game. Use that code NATION at Bet365. And you can get in on the action here on today's show with the Afterburner Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat go to the Youth Centers of Calgary, a place where kids are welcomed and accepted as they are, and where they can get a break from the chronic stress that is the reality for many of their lives and can flourish through connection and fun. Mike and Pike with you on this Friday afternoon. It still qualifies as the afternoon after this game, just past 5 o'clock local time here in Calgary. And the Flames, on the day that they announce extensions for 4 of their senior management, Ryan Pike, they get a win with 5 goals in Florida.
I mean, I got my contract extension, and I don't see there was no press releases or hubbub about that. So I don't know. I mean, it's good to have it out of the way, and you know they played a pretty good hockey game. You and I were talking before the show. I thought that they were not as bad as the score indicated in Tampa. I mean, they had just a very bad first 10 minutes, which might have been. You could make a case that these last 2 games are sort of the good and the bad of their season, all in sort of a nutshell. Because that game against Tampa, just every mistake they made was a big mistake, and Dustin Wolf gave up 3 goals on I think 5 shots officially. Not much he could do on any of the goals. And then the Flames got their act together, but then it was far too late. In this game, again, 2 goals on Devin Cooley that I thought he had very little chance on, and off of, again, big mistakes in the bad half of the ice for the Flames. And then they got their act together, and this time they weren't down 4-0, and they were able to come back. So for a team that does not score a lot of goals, 5 goals in the game is pretty good. And I believe this is 42 consecutive games that they have scored 4 or more and won, which I believe extends an NHL record. So yeah, they played well enough to deserve the win. And it was a nice bounce back from a game in Tampa where it just looked like they didn't know what time the game started.
Nazem Kadri with a goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night. He was named the game's first star. Rasmus Anderson with a pair of assists as well in just about 23 minutes of ice time for the Calgary Flames tonight. And Devin Cooley with 37 saves for the Flames on 40 shots against. Probably the reason why they were able to stay in this game for parts of it, and especially after giving up 2 goals on the first 2 shots he faced, was a huge part of this game being able to be won by the Flames, and they ended up coming out ahead. They were outshot 40-34 in this one. Cooley had a stretch where he made, I think, something like 30 straight saves on Florida Panthers shots, and the Flames end up coming out on top. We should talk about how this game started, as it was Evan Rodriguez and Sam Bennett both scoring in the game's first 3 minutes. And there wasn't a whole lot that Devin Cooley could do on those plays. The Flames ended up making miscues in their own zone. Rodriguez and Bennett both end up getting behind the Flames defensive group. And yeah, it was a bit of a tough start that sort of had some people saying, oh no, here it goes again after a game 2 days ago in which the Flames fell behind 4-0 early.
I think I actually tweeted the words, "Here we go again?" ? And I think a lot of Flames fans, depending on what side of the tank, non-tank divide people fell, either had a pit in their stomach or a little bit of excitement. And then, the game changed after that.
Matt C in the chat with a good point. What's the Flames record since the Warmies started? Hey, I think they've been a lot better since we started doing our pregame show. You should tune into that before the start of every game. And hey, here we are after this game where the Flames, if you're looking at the standings from a certain vantage point, they do, even after the win, remain, I believe, in 31st in the National Hockey League, or I guess they move back to 31st in the National Hockey League by points percentage. They're 9-14-3 with a -16 goal differential. And you know what? Right off the top of this show, we're going to actually take a look at one of our Bet365 bets because it involves a team that will be in action later today. Because of the early start, Pike, we get an opportunity to look at a game that is just about to happen. Nashville against Chicago. And if Nashville wins this game, the Flames move back into 32nd in the National Hockey League by way of points percentage. They're going up against a Chicago team that is 10-8-5, kind of falling off a little bit in the overall standings. Nashville is favored in this game at -120. The spread at -1.5, that is not favored. The spread is favored at +1.5 extremely strongly. So it looks like the odds makers think that Nashville is going to win this game by a bit of a margin. Pike, as we look at sort of the bottom of the standings this season, very interesting just to note the difference in tone that we saw in the first intermission of this game with the interview done by Brendan Parker versus the tone that we saw in the first intermission of a game a couple of weeks ago when Brendan Parker interviewed a different Flames executive.
Yeah, I like the fact that that the Flames general manager was able to rattle off a bunch of Flames prospects who are having good years. He provided an update on Zane Parek's condition. He's going to be ready in time for the World Juniors, so he'll be loaned to he confirmed the previous reporting by Eric Francis that he'll be loaned to the World Junior team. So yeah, and he also gave a shout out to NCAA top 10 scorer Ethan Wittenbach. So you can tell that that Craig's kind of a scouting guy because he has a very keen awareness of how all the kids are doing, even the Russians, and is able to cite them on national TV rather easily.
Yeah, it was certainly a bit of a breath of fresh air, I would say, to hear from the GM. Obviously, interesting PR messaging over the last few weeks. And I think it is very good for the Flames that they are at a point where they now no longer have this in the media cycle, because it has not been a very productive one, I think, over the last 3 weeks. And hey, we've been part of that, but it's been kind of their own creation, I think. And I think this was a step in the right direction to hear from the GM in a very public facing manner in that first intermission. And it was also, I think, good in the sense that it came after the Flames were able to get on the board in this game. They managed to get back to even as we headed into the first intermission of this game. And the first goal that was scored came from their shrinking but still productive Eastern Bloc. It was Yan Kuznetsov who got them on the board with his first NHL goal, courtesy of a nice little play by Blake Coleman to get it up the ice.
Birthday boy, Blake Coleman.
That's right. As Jason York said on the broadcast, he's got a lot of kids. And Coleman gets it up ice. And this is Yan Kuznetsov with a blistering shot from just inside the blue line. Good for him. Good for the, fifth or sixth year pro to snipe one in against a Russian goaltender at the other end who had a bit of a shaky night. But nevertheless, that's an impressive shot from number 37.
Yeah, and some nice awareness there. He used Jeff Petrie as a screen. And so if you're Tarasov, you probably want to have that one. But it's also a nice shot. And because he doesn't see how it's released, it's really hard for the goalie to react like that. So we've often heard the Flames talk about how, one of the reasons they like Jonathan Huberdeau in the power play is because, or on the penalty kill rather, is that he thinks like a power play guy and he can help you sort of react to how offensive players will operate. Whereas with Kuznetsov knows the problems that using a guy as a screen can cause, and he's unintentionally been a screen in the past. And he probably felt pretty good being able to help the team. I believe that's in 12 games in the NHL this year. That's 3 points for Kuznetsov. And you mentioned Rasmus Anderson, how much he played this game. The second most ice time on anyone wearing a flame sweater this evening was from Kuznetsov.
He was terrific, just absolutely terrific for Yan Kuznetsov to see him get his first NHL goal. Well-deserved. It's been a long time coming for number 37 on the back end for the Flames. And speaking of a long time coming, the Flames end up tying this game at the 10:41 mark of the first period. The opening frame of this game and the opening half of the first period of this game was just frantic as far as offense was concerned. And Mackenzie Weegar, on his 52nd shot of the season, if I am correct, gets his first goal of the year and only his 5th point. It's been a bit of a trying offensive campaign for the defenseman, but he sneaks one through Tarasov. Again, one that probably he would want to have back, but it does go in, and Uyghur ties this game at 2 in his old arena.
Yeah, and we are unabashedly pro Michael Backlund establishment here. Certain members of the barn burner crew notwithstanding. Hell of a play. Some nice awareness there by Backlund, sort of seeing the amount of human beings in front of the slot, and instead of trying to force a pass into the slot, he throws it to the point where Uyghur has all the time in the world and a bunch of bodies in front. And again, probably tough for Tarasov to track that, but a couple of good plays by some veterans there led to the tying goal.
Flames do end up taking the lead in period number 2. It was an excellent night again for the line of Nazem Kadri, Igor Sharangovich, and Joel Farabee. And it is Kadri who ends up getting, pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're getting excited.
I'm getting ahead of myself. It was actually Morgan Frost who got things started off of a long 5-on-3 for the Flames that sort of bisected the end of the first and the start of the second. And it was Kadri who was involved in this goal. He set up Rasmus Andersson for a long shot, and it's Morgan Frost in the vicinity of Daniil Tarasov who slaps home the rebound for his 6th goal of the season. It was a bit of a disjointed 5-on-3 before the goal, but they do end up getting rebiggled, if I may use that word. And it's Frost who is the beneficiary in front.
And kind of a cool sequence. You hardly ever see this. It was the 5-on-3 was a full 2 minutes, and it was caused by two separate
penalties.
minors drawn by the 4th line on a nice little forward checking shift at the end of the first period. So Lomberg draws a penalty and Beecher draws a penalty. And as a result, the Flames had a good amount of power play time. And, very quietly, their power play is starting to get going again. They had a chance to be a difference maker against Tampa. They were not, at least not a positive difference maker. But this ended up being the only power play the Flames had in the game, and ended up scoring them a pretty big goal.
Morgan Frost getting really, really hot. He's up to 14 points on the season. And that goal was followed up by the one that I was eager to describe. Nazem Kadri with his 5th goal of the season, breaking a 10-game slump in which he's been racking up plenty of assists. And again, just an excellent sequence from this line, which was their best all game. And Kadri with a long-range deflection from a shot by Rasmus Andersson. Andersson getting his 2nd consecutive primary assist. And this one in the last minute 20 of the second period, doubling the Flames' lead.
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about obscure hockey player Rasmus Andersson this year. He is now at 18 points. He's 2nd on the Flames in scoring, 18 points in 26 games. I don't think we can really nitpick how he's been operating. He is 2nd on the Flames in assists. The only player with more assists right now is Nazem Kadri. He is amongst the Flames leaders in goals. I think the only guys currently that have more goals than him are Coleman, Coronado, and Farabee. And I guess Frost too. Frost just inched ahead of him in this game. So for what you're asking him to do, especially he was very critical of how he played last year. And I think rightfully so. He was both unlucky and occasionally quite bad at times last year. And, I think he made the necessary adjustments this year. And he's, I don't think it's unfair to say he's been consistently the Flames' best defenseman, if not their best player. And this was one of the games where you look at his contributions, and I'm pretty sure there's 31 general managers around the league watching game tape of this and going, where did we get one of those?
Well, yeah, you can't watch Rasmus Andersson right now and not say, wow, that guy is impressive. He's been playing some of his best hockey as a Calgary Flame, and he was rewarded again tonight. 2 assists. He's been absolutely red hot so far on the season. He is 2nd on the team in points, as you mentioned, 18 of them in 26 games. More notably, for me, he's a +1 on the season after being a -38 a year ago.
He is on pace, I think, for being either +2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. And that is a swing of roughly 40 from a year ago. And it's well deserved. I think you can always, especially with defensemen, you can always sort of pick little things to nitpick about their games, and no defenseman ever plays a perfect game. But Andersson has done far, far, far more good than bad for the Flames this year.
For reference, Mackenzie Uyghur is a -20 already, which, quite frankly, Probably in the same boat as Rasmus Andersson from last year, just not getting the bounces. Uyghur did get a bounce tonight on the goal, but I think he still ended up a -1 on the night. And when you're in that sort of rut, those minuses just follow you around.
Even.
Was he even? There you go.
Yeah.
So, but even still, I mean, he ends up even, but the minuses still, they follow you around, you know, when you're in that sort of situation. So we'll see how those two defensemen continue to go on from here. You and I were discussing on the couch before the show, Rasmus Andersson almost certainly, I think at this point, will be on Team Sweden at the Olympics with the way that he's playing. Not sure if he will be a Flames representative at the Olympics at the rate that the season is going, but I would be surprised if he's not there, just with how excellent he has been to start the season. What do you think, Pike? Any other Flames going to be representing the Flames at the Olympics?
I think Klapka.
Yeah.
Klapka with Czechia, I think will be there. He's been, for his role, he's consistently noticeable. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes on the ice, and you know, he's big, he's mean, and I believe a couple weeks ago, it might have been last week, Danny Austin from Post Media asked him after a morning skate, like, you know, you're a nice guy, you seem comfortable being the villain out there, because he seems to do a lot of things on the ice that throwing his body around, making the other team hate him. And he just sort of chuckled. He's like, well, with Postgame away, someone's got to do it. And I'll say Klapka understands the assignment, and I think he's doing some hard things and making them look fairly easy. And for somebody who's trying to, he's proved that he's an NHL player. He deserves to be here. He's good enough to be here. But figuring out, like, what is the thing I can do that's going to keep me in the league long term, I think he's still figuring that out. But I think he's figuring it out pretty quickly. And the answer is be big and be a menace. And I think he's doing both those things very well.
Lots of Calgary Wrangler alumni on this edition of the Flames. Brad Marchand getting his 15th goal of the season in period number 3. Imagine a Flames player having 15 goals already. Marchand with 15, and he scores a pretty nice one from the slot with Sam Reinhart and Anton Lundell getting the assists to make it a 1-goal game again. And then Joel Farabee with his 7th of the year. An empty netter. Yegor making a very, very nice defensive play to set this one up. Kadri along the boards, and then Farabee putting it in to the yawning cage. They took away Yegor's assist, poor guy, but Kadri gets the 16th of his season on Farabee's 7th goal of the year. Boy, Joel Farabee turning into a guy who not only is he a good middle six winger for this team on a very good line right now, but also at his $5 million salary, notwithstanding, could be a guy who in a couple of years' time you're sort of looking at as saying, boy, we like Blake Coleman right now as a trade piece for this Flames team. He has a year after this one remaining on a contract with the Flames at a pretty reasonable salary cap hit. If you're the Calgary Flames looking a couple of years down the road saying, well, where are we at our build? If they're still in a similar position as to where they are right now, Joel Farabee, you're looking at this guy saying, boy, if we retain maybe a little bit of money, that'll be a great player for us to dangle as a really good trade piece.
I mean, the cap's also going to keep going up. So, I mean, for what he brings, $5 million right now,
not bad.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
And as the cap goes up, if his play maintains, if this is, I think the big challenge with Joel Farabee in Philadelphia was just, I believe he had an injury when he came back. Anyone who comes back from a major injury, there's a level of tentativeness in your game initially, and a lot of times players sort of you get it out of your game eventually. It's like, you got to get back into what you were doing before, and you realize, okay, I'm not going to get hurt doing that again. And then the fear goes away a bit and you just play your game. And I don't think he was able to quite get back to what made him effective consistently in Philadelphia, and that made him expendable. And then his jersey changed to a red one. And last year, I think he showed flashes of strong play, but he's also, again, he seemed like a guy, he had big, what do I do with my hands energy, in the sense that I don't think he quite knew where he fit into what the Flames were doing exactly. And I think this year you see a guy who's, along with Morgan Frost, I think Morgan Frost is in the same boat. I think both the guys had a good opportunity to have a summer just wrapping their heads around, I'm a Calgary Flame now. And Farabee especially has been just excellent for what's being asked of him. There's a reason why he's consistently playing with Kadri, is because they're menaces out there. And I think they're doing a lot of things that are helping the Flames be successful when they are successful.
That line had 14 shots on goal tonight. 8 of them came from Nazem Kadri, who was fantastic throughout the game. Yeah, I think they deserve a ton of credit. I think the Flames deserve a ton of credit for coming up with these lines and not messing with them. I think that was something that was really hampering the support players on this team to start the season, the constant juggling. And it was kind of a matter of circumstance. They had 10 guys who they wanted to have playing top 9 roles. And so they were constantly cycling it around. And it was really killing guys, I think, in terms of being able to generate rapport with their line mates. And I think the top 9 lines they have right now are going very well. And they have been consistent. And I would like to see them stay consistent for the next months of action for the Flames. They've done a really good job. I don't think at this point had anyone at the start of the year. There were guys on this Flames team who I didn't think looked like NHL players who looked like they weren't playing consistently at an NHL level. And who I think were just by virtue of maybe a lack of confidence or a lack of belief of where they were in the lineup. And we're going to see the Flames lose plenty more as the season goes on. They just, by a matter of, they don't have the pieces that some other teams do. But I think right now, where the top 9 is at, everybody, to me at least, is playing in a certain role, and they're doing a decent job of it.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about other positions. I think you mentioned off the top how good Devin Cooley was.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, Devin Cooley might be a nice parable for the whole team where, there was a lot of talk coming out of, let's be honest. The last time we saw him in preseason was the 8-1 game. He came in relief when the game was already well out of hand. And I was at that game. Nobody played well. It was one of those games where you want to go burn the tape. And unfortunately, because of how they had planned out their preseason, they needed to use that game to make decisions on players, unfortunately. And, for Cooley managed to make the cut, but I don't think any of that, nothing that I saw from anyone in that game led to increased confidence in anybody wearing a Flame sweater. And so I don't think it was unfair for there to be chatter about, what do they do with the backup position? Because you simply can't play Dustin Wolf 79,000 games a year. That's just, his arms and legs would fall off, and he's too important a player to burn him out in year 0 of his he's still in his previous contract. Wolf's new big contract doesn't start until next season. You do not want to break the car in a test drive. You want to have it for the long term. And so it's incumbent upon them to find a steady backup, and bless his heart, they gave Devin Cooley a chance to play his way in or out of that position. And he stepped up. He's played his way into that position to the point where if you told me in the next, if after Christmas, the Flames announced some sort of a contract extension for Cooley, I'd say, yeah, that sounds about right. Because I think he's shown enough both in the American League and especially at the NHL level in the role he's in now that I think he could be a really steady partner for Wolf and can help bring out the best in Wolf over the next few years. So it might be a little bit early to make proclamations of give him an extension, but he's pretty close. He's getting really close. Like his last 6 starts, actually this season, he's made 6 starts this year and he's 3-2-1. And his goals against is very good. His save percentage is very good. If your question is always, damn, we need to, you're young enough or you're old enough / young enough to remember Mika Kiprusoff. Mm-hmm. The running joke every year was, oh God, they need to find someone that can give the Flames not even great goaltending, good enough goaltending on the nights where Mika Kiprusoff needs to be rested. And, along with we need to find a center for Jerome McGinley, those are the 2 things that probably kept several general managers in a row up at night because they could never figure it out. For Wolf, they might have figured it out very quickly. And if you have your goaltending position solidified and you have some good blue liners and stuff, there's a lot of things that you need to figure out to get this team to where they want it to be, but they might have figured out goaltending this year.
They might have. We'll take a look at some of the leaders for the Flames tonight. Of course, Nazem Kadri with 8 shots on goal. There were 3 guys tied with 4 apiece. A couple of the defensemen, Mackenzie Weegar I'm looking at the wrong category. Mackenzie Weegar had 5 shots on goal, not 4. He had 4 blocks. Jan Kuznetsov and he both have 4 blocks. But yes, Weegar had 5 shots on goal, and then Yegor with 4. So a decent night for some of the guys on the Flames in terms of expected goals percentage. The Handley-Pahal pairing up at 75%. Pretty solid. The line of Kadri, Sharangovich, and Farabee at 60% across the board for the Flames tonight. So some good stuff from the second pairing and the second line for the Calgary Flames. Hey, Pike, I got a question for you. You ever heard of Derek Newman?
I have heard many things about Derek Newman. almost all of them positive.
Almost all of them positive.
I mean, I think he should put his phone down at Jays games and enjoy the World Series. But that's just me, nitpicking. I'm just jealous that he got to go and I didn't.
You think Derek Newman should find Devin Cooley a house in Calgary?
I mean, he probably already has a house in Calgary. He played with the Wranglers last year.
What about a better house in Calgary?
I think Devin Cooley could definitely use some help.
I think absolutely. I think he should give Derek Newman a call.
He's so busy all the time. He's making all these saves. He's maintaining a healthy home for an adorable rabbit. I think his plate is pretty full. I don't know if he has the energy to find a new house for himself.
I know. He's got to call Derek Newman. Go to the Derek Newman group at CIR Realty. If you're buying or you're selling, you can let Derek do the work for you. You can email him at dnewman@cirrealty.ca or call 403-619-6661 or visit dereknewmangroup.com. Once again, that is 403-619-6661 or dereknewmangroup.com, and you'll get the unmatched service, people-first approach, and trusted experience that the Derek Newman Group provides. If you're interested in buying or selling your home in the Calgary area, call Derek at 403-619-6661. Let Derek put his network to work for you.
Do you want to know what Devin Cooley's save percentage is this season?
I think probably 928,
930,
930,
and 202 goals against.
That's pretty good.
He's pretty good for if he's your second best goalie, you feel pretty good about your other goalie.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a 925 tonight, stopping 37 of 40 in the full 60 minutes for the Calgary Flames. I think with maybe with Dustin Wolf in net, they might win this game, but with a different goaltender in net, with a lesser goaltender in net, I think they lose this game. Hard-hitting analysis right there, but still, he was excellent. He kept them in this game for a large part of it. In the first period, I mean, he was kind of shelled for a little bit of it. The Panthers, they were getting a ton of chances. And then later in the third, it was a fire drill. And Devin Cooley was again, the guy who kept them in this game.
Yeah. And he stayed in his paint. He made some smart moves. He played really solid goaltending. He used his frame well. And I'll say this, as much as, I think everyone's taking runs at Yegor Sharangovich's two-way play at times, myself included, and I think it's been merited because he's not exactly a Selke nominee, but he made a really nice save in the last 2 minutes, sweeping the puck away from a Panthers player in the slot, right around the blue paint. Cooley had made the initial save. Everyone kind of scrambled, and Sharangovich just went, no, let's just get this out of here. And then they ended up making the rush back, and it was actually right before Farabee's goal. Sharangovich did not get an assist on Farabee's goal, even though he's originally credited with one. But Sharangovich, I think the Flames were pretty good in front of Cooley, first 5 minutes notwithstanding, and I think as a result, Cooley was very good for them.
Yeah, Yegor is going to obviously be considered a disappointment by a lot of the fan base, especially early on in this contract. There's always going to be a bit of a sticker shock associated with it when he's not scoring 30 goals in a season. But I think it's just a win for the Flames to be able to get, minutes out of Yegor where you're not actively saying, oh no. And I think over the last 2 weeks, I think Yegor has done a very good job on this line. And he did a good job tonight. He had 4 shots on goal. He was one of their possession leaders across the board. I think with Yegor, I mean, you have to accept that if he's not going to be on the top power play unit, which he's not, he's just not going to naturally get points. And that's really a matter of how it works in the NHL. If you're on that top unit, you're going to get points by association. And that's he had a lot of very high skill plays when he scored those 31 goals. But again, it's just a matter of if you're going to be relying on 5-on-5 offense, that's just a matter of how it's going to work. And so I think over the last couple of weeks, I think we've seen more productive play just in general. And the offshoot of it is, his 5-on-5 save percentage, I think, which is, precipitated by a lot of maybe lazy or careless play in his own end that has not given his goaltenders any favors. It's gone way up. He was a +2 tonight. He's been a plus, I think, pretty much every game over the last couple of weeks. Maybe not the Tampa game, but still, it's been, to me, a step in the right direction and something where, again, it just boils back to me of if you have guys playing on consistent lines, it applies to Connor's area as well, where Connor's area has been on the line with Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman. And to me, that is coincided with Zary playing some of his best hockey of the season, even though the points aren't coming. He got a secondary assist tonight. But still, so for those two guys, I think you have to be happy with the steps forward that we are seeing, even if they don't coincide with production. Because to me, you kind of have to live with the contracts. Zari's making what, almost $4 million a year, and he's got
3,775,
and he's got 4 points, right? So it's you got to take the good with the bad, because in a season like this, the production for nobody's production is going to be overwhelming unless you're on a heater like Rasmus Anderson is on.
I'll say this though: if you're playing with Backlund and Coleman, you're going to have the puck a lot.
Yeah,
and if you're someone like Zary, I think that the big challenge for him is, I think he's very talented. I think he works really hard, but I would say his game lacks an identity. And I think,
much like Farabee last year,
I'll say that, why Yan Kuznetsov is having success? Because granted, Yan Kuznetsov's had the ability to sort of have an identity built for his game in the American League. And so Yan Kuznetsov comes to the NHL, and he's used to playing with offensive-minded players and sort of being the defensive conscience for his pairing, and it works. And so he doesn't really need to change much. Because Zary came up so quickly from the American League, he sort of bounced around a bit, and he doesn't really have that identity in his game to sort of fall back on. Whereas, like, say, granted, I mean, it's a different situation because one guy's played 1,000 games in the league, but Backlund, Coleman, they know exactly who they are and what they need to do to be successful. And so when the going gets tough, they have that to fall back on. And so you always have a certain amount of consistency in their game as a result. With Zary, I don't think he has that yet. And I think playing with the two most consistent players in terms of both play and identity is a great way to sort of help him tease that out a bit.
Yeah, I have no problems with the top nine as it is currently constructed. I think they've done a very good job of building three lines that will give them plus minutes. And the on ice results will not always reflect that. Matt Coronado's still a -17 on the year, but it's a work in progress. And I think there are good signs for the Calgary Flames as they move forward here. These guys, there are going to be staggered things that happen here. I remember a guy like Matt Stajan, who signed 2 different 4-year contracts with the Flames
in very different circumstances.
And the starts of both of those 4-year contracts were occasionally fraught.
That's a good word.
Fraught's
a fantastic
They
word.
were fraught. And they got to the point during both of those contracts under various different circumstances where it was just, you took the good with the bad. He was a guy making $4 million or whatever he was making by the end. And the way that his play progressed, he found a role. And at a certain point, as long as you have a role on a team, it doesn't really matter what money you make. It's just as long as you're contributing in a plus way. That was sort of, there are situations with guys. Every time the Flames have bought out a player in the last 10 years, it has not just been because they've been underperforming. It's because they lacked a complete role. I think of James Neal, who they didn't buy him out. They traded him.
Ryan Murphy.
Very funny. But Mason Raymond, they demoted him because, he may have been capable of playing a certain role on the team under certain circumstances, but he wasn't as good at it as certain other players. And then he just got sent down and there wasn't any space. I think everybody on the Flames right now is capable of playing a certain role. Now, there's a good question in the comments. I think it was from Fubar saying, who do you trade to loosen that logjam on the wing? I think eventually it'll probably be Blake Coleman, just because he just turned 34 and he's got 2 years left on his contract. And eventually they'll move Farabee, probably. Eventually they'll move Frost. He's a center, not a winger, but there will be guys who get moved out over the course of the coming years. Frost is an interesting one to me because they signed him to a 2-year deal, and next draft could be very interesting with him on a contract that is about to be expiring. And him, what do you do with that guy if you have 1 year left and he's just scored 50 points?
Well, especially like with all the centers the Flames who have coming. I know, Colin Potter hasn't had the freshman or the sophomore year that everyone had hoped he would.
Scored today.
Yeah, he's getting better. Like, I think it's just basically, I put him in Jacob Battaglia barrel as good players on bad teams, where it's just, they're getting shelled most nights, so it's hard to really generate a lot. But you have Rezhny, you have Colin Potter, you have Theo Stoxelius, who should be returning from injury reasonably soon after getting a skate cut in October. just off the top, that's 3 guys off the top of my head who are pretty promising young centers that need some time. You could probably maybe put Yen Matveyko in that bin too, even though he's Russian, so you never really know if he's ever coming over. But if you look at the centers in the team, I mean, Nazem Kadri, assuming he's around for a while, has 3 years after this year. You have Backlund, who's, until the wheels fall off, I think he's going to be a Calgary Flame, but he is 2 years after this one. Frost has a year left after this one. Beecher, who knows? They have some question marks there. So I think the center ice future of the Flames is in a bit of flux. And I think in an ideal situation, you basically have to come up with including this year, a 1 or 2 or 3 year bridge until you get Potter and Rezhny and whoever else here. Which means if you're Morgan Frost, a 2-year deal says, okay, show us that you can be, when they move to the new building, when Craig Conroy, gets the whiteboard and sort of maps out his ideal Stanley Cup winning team, is Morgan Frost in that team. And right now, I think they're in audition mode. I think a lot of guys this year, like last year was, I think, beginning of a process that I would call audition mode, where a lot of guys are making cases that, hello, I should be part of this team when it's good. And so I think it's kind of like last year, the answer with Dustin Wolf was an unabashed yes. Morgan Frost, unabashed yes. Not Morgan Frost. Kevin Ball was a yes. Yeah. Matt Coronado, not Frost, was an unabashed yes. So they have guys that, you sort of to identify your core or your quasi core. And I don't think Frost is there yet, but I think, he's playing on, a top line with the Flames leading scorer, and he's doing a lot of things. And so, if you're trying to, close your eyes and imagine, like, okay, what does this team look like with, an Ivar Stenberg, or a Gavin McKenna, hypothetically, on the wing, who is playing center of that line?
Yeah.
Who's on the other wing? I think those are the kind of things that, as things go forward, they'll crystallize a bit more. But I think right now, if you're in the organization, you're auditioning. And I think that's a healthy thing to have happening right now.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Morgan Frost, they signed to a 2-year contract. At the draft, he will be 27. He will have just turned 27. That, to me, is a very interesting one. I think there are lots of guys who are going to be, they're going to have to make decisions on. And so, and I think the other offshoot of it is, from my standpoint, the only guy as a forward who has been just totally lights out, pushing to me, like needs to be on this team, no question about it, in a year from today. No. He's already done that.
Oh, okay.
Is Matvey Gridden.
Yeah.
To me, that is the only guy forward, as far as forwards are concerned, who on the farm is just absolutely needs to be here in a year, need to see what he can do at the right time, is Matvey Gridden. Everybody else from
who's the center though?
That's the thing. I don't know. But I'm just saying, from a standpoint of everybody else, from the Gridden to from the Karens to the Stromgren to the anybody else who's on the Wranglers, is in a boat, to me, of it would be nice to see them, but to me, they're not pushing like to be true difference maker cohort to me, as a Gridden looks like to me. Everybody else to me.
How the hell did he slide the 28th overall? I know it's basically just, he's playing the USHL, and they were perceived, I think, as like the 3rd or 4th best major junior league in North America, or Matvey Gridden had only played North America for 2 years, and we don't really know what his trajectory would be, but he was very good in the USHL, very good in the Q. He's at this point if the season ended right now, he's the rookie of the year in the AHL.
19-year-olds don't do this in the American
He might
Hockey
be
League.
An all-star in the AHL.
Yeah, 19-year-olds just don't do this in the American Hockey League. And so that, for that reason, it's just holy smokes.
And even like, I know Pinder always waxes poetic about how much he hates the CHL development rule, and it is what it is. It's meant to protect junior hockey, and I think I get it. I don't love the rule, but I kind of understand why it exists. But most 19-year-olds who make it to the CHL or make it out to the AHL just look out of place. And just because they're playing against guys who are like 25, 26, 20, they're playing against Clark Bishops every night, who have played in the league for a decade and are making their living the hard way, grinding out wins and trying to find a way to A, put food on the table, and B, impress someone enough to get a call up to the 4th line of the NHL. Like, it's the league is full of very good checking players that make life miserable for 19-year-olds in that league, even 20-year-olds. And as a result, it's a very tough league to figure out right away. We've seen how many just in this organization who they've go into the AHL as a 20 and just, even though they're allowed to be there, they're supposed to be there, they just spend half the year going, what the hell am I doing? There has been none of that learning curve with Matt Vigridden. And I think it speaks to how damn talented he is, how damn smart he is. His play away from the puck is still a work in progress, as it is for most 19-year-olds. But, he went from Russia to spending 2 years in the USHL and quickly became a very good to borderline excellent USHL player, then spent less than a year. It took him less than a year to figure out the Q, and he was one of their leading scorers. He was the rookie of the year and the offensive rookie of the year in that league. For some reason, they have 2 trophies for it. And then this year, he could win like rookie of the year or MVP, or he could win awards in 3 different leagues in 3 different years, which is kind of insane to me.
Dustin Wolf-esque.
Yeah, but I think it speaks to just like, damn, this kid's good. And okay, they managed to hit pay dirt at 28th overall.
Yeah.
They kind of need to do it a few more times.
They do. Gridden, yeah, I mean, I talked top prospects, I think, on one of the recent Warmies shows, top 10 prospects. He's at number 2 on my list right now, and number 1 among all forwards, just because every other forward that the Flames have in their organization, there is just one small reason to give me pause. Just one small reason, even with a guy like Cole Reshney, where the reasons are very, very, very small. Just I don't know if he's going to be a goal scorer at the next level. With Gridden, I am just unabashedly excited to see what this player can be at the next level. I mean,
I just thought you were jealous of Cole Reshney's awesome hair.
He's a good man.
He's got good flow.
Yeah, it's a good family. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for Matt Vigridden. But again, I don't think they need to rush this guy. I don't think anybody on the farm right now needs to be here right now. I want to see them in March. I want to see Gridden and Brustevich and whoever else has earned that spot, even Rory Cairns. Although I will contend, I think Rory Cairns is getting a little close to Glenn Godden territory for me. But I still think Rory Cairns has the ability to play in the NHL. We'll see. But it's an exciting time to watch the farm. It's an exciting time to watch the NCAA. We talked about Colin Potter. He has a goal today for ASU. Ethan Wittenbach at Quinnipiac. I mean, it's an incredible story for a 5th-round pick to go directly from the USHL to the NCAA on a program that has won the national championship in the last 3 years and score at the rate that he has. It's good times for the Flames with the prospects, and it's good that they had Craig Conroy and to sort of focus on that as their core messaging.
Yeah, and I mean, that was when he became special assistant. One of his big things was the draft. I remember in 2012, heading up to the Jankowski draft, having long conversations with him at Winsport just along the glass watching practice about how the draft's looking. Like he's a drafting guy, and I think for where the Flames are in their growth period, it feels like he's the right guy to be the architect of this, because I think he understands how important the draft is. I'll also say this, this is just me being weird. The fact that he was on that 04 team, that was just basically, let's be completely honest, was it a top 3 or 4 team in terms of talent in the NHL? No. It was, they eked into the playoffs, and then they had a bunch of guys fully commit to roles and fully commit to a play style that other teams hated.
They got hot.
At the right times, and they had the right people in the right roles. He was an assistant GM in both 19 and 22, and the Flames had astoundingly good regular seasons where everything clicked and they had all the guys in the right roles. So I think if you're looking for someone who has been in that room as a player and as an executive, knowing sort of what the puzzle pieces need to look like, he doesn't seem like a bad person to have in that role.
Absolutely. I think you're dead on there, Pike. The Flames are midway through this road trip through the Southeast in the United States as we shift across to the road ahead, brought to you by the good folks up at Platinum Mitsubishi. Family owned and operated by lifelong Calgarians, where lease and finance rates start at 0%. You can check out the 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, and just arriving up at Platinum at the 2026 Outlander Mild Hybrid. It's not gas anymore, Pike. It's a mild hybrid, and it is super duper cool. I had the chance to drive one earlier this week with a 1.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder engine and a 48-volt mild hybrid assist It's super cool. The engine turns off as you're slowing down.
Ooh.
It's super neat. It's like it glides to a stop. It's super cool. 7-seater, 10-year powertrain warranty up at $2,720. Barlow Trail Northeast and Pike. We'll be seeing. Maybe the Flames will just sort of coast to the end of this road trip with a little mild hybrid slowdown, or maybe they'll just keep on at full speed because they got a couple of games coming up on the road against Carolina and Nashville that are both going to be pretty interesting. Carolina, another weird start. 3:00 on Sunday. We're going to be...
at least it's an afternoon game on like a weekend.
Yeah.
It's not just like everybody sneak out of work early because we have a Flames matinee on a Friday.
Yeah, we'll have tailgates.
A holiday in a country that we're not in.
Yeah, North Carolina barbecue tailgate on a Sunday afternoon. The Flames in Carolina playing in a rink that they've had some interesting games in over the years, to say the least, along with one of the worst visiting dressing room setups. That's not my opinion. That's NHL players' opinions. And then following that, they'll be in Nashville for the Ultimate Tank Bowl. The Predators and the Flames, the two worst teams in the National Hockey League this season. Although the Flames have been playing better of late, the Predators have not been, Ryan Pike. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. And as we mentioned off the top, playing Chicago tonight.
What a weird team. I don't understand Nashville. Like,
here's the thing, Pike. I think folks in Nashville would look at the Flames and say the same thing about Calgary. But I grant you, the Predators are super weird.
You go out and you buy Steven Stamkos, and then the wheels completely fall off.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what it's supposed to, like when you go out and buy Jonathan Marchessault, you're like, all right, on paper, the goalies they have, love them, like their blue line group. It's a really nice group. It's full of when you have Roman Josi and Saros, and you go out and you get Marchessault and Stamkos, like on paper, you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This works. I like the puzzle pieces. And then just the picture it's making is just jumbled and just does not look good.
No.
And I don't think anyone could have anticipated when Barry Trotz took over for David Poile that it would look quite like this. It's been, I don't want to say disastrous, but certainly it hasn't been pretty.
Jonathan Marchessault leaving Vegas for Nashville, probably the worst lose scenario that we've seen in the NHL in quite some time. Vegas would love to have Jonathan Marchessault or a player like him in their lineup. They haven't been at full capacity this season. Nashville stinks, and Marchessault has 7 points in 20 games this season. Those are Yegor Sharangovich numbers. So nobody is happy with the way that the whole Jonathan Marchessault situation has panned out for the Nashville Predators. But that's the thing. At least Yegor's on a good 5-on-5 line. Marchessault's just getting killed at 5-on-5 this season. So, hey, I mean, that's a guy. Maybe the Canadians can buy low or something, but the Nashville Predators are in a bad way right now. And we already talked Bet365. I think they are favored against the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. So maybe bet on Chicago in that one. The Flames playing in Nashville, and then they return home for a few games. It is dark mode for the Calgary Flames. The next time that you see them on home ice, they'll be wearing Blasty for the first time this season for 3 consecutive games against Minnesota, Utah, and Buffalo.
Is Wolf going to be wearing a sweet black and white and red gear?
I don't know. I want to see Cooley's Blasty setup.
Have you seen Cooley's new mask?
No, I haven't. Oh, yes. Yeah. He was wearing it tonight.
He has 3 masks now.
Yeah.
And they're all sweet.
Yeah.
They did a good job with them.
Yeah. I think it would be funny if a goalie gets traded to Calgary or something and he doesn't know about Blasty, or he doesn't have time. He just comes up with a retro setup and then he has to wear it with the Blasty jersey. I think that would be funny.
Yeah. Go Andre Trefilov style. Just wear a plain white mask.
Just wear white. Just do the
a lot of goalies do that. I think it's not, to me, honestly, that speaks to the speed at which the very talented airbrush artists throughout the NHL are able to turn masks around, because you hear guys they get traded to the trade deadline and then 2-3 days later they have a mask waiting for them. That is nuts. And just the idea that these people can turn around very beautiful masks that quickly, I'm just impressed. I'm both taken aback and wildly impressed by it.
Devin Cooley, unorthodox in some ways in the NHL, in that he is a goaltender who wears number 1. Used to be the default for NHL goaltenders.
Andre Trefilov wore number 1.
Yeah, but now very few NHL goaltenders wear number 1. They're all going with numbers in the 30s or the 20s or the 90s or what have you. Devin Cooley, a bit of a throwback in that sense. as well. I've always liked the look of that number on a goalie.
I think when I was younger, the defaults for goalies were 1, 30, and 35.
Yeah.
You picked one of them, and it was odd if you went for one of the three. Like when Rick Wamsley wore 31 in the 90s, it was like in the 80s and 90s. I went, that's kind of weird because I was so used to 1 and 30.
Yeah.
But he decided to buck the trend, and now we got 32s and 33s and 90 whatever's. Like it's chaos, but I do enjoy the chaos.
Darren Pupa wearing number 93, with the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 1990s. Ominous Flames, the good question. Are the Flames wearing their 04 home and away jerseys next year or just home? As far as I'm aware, it's just the homes. It'll be sort of their 4th jersey. My expectation is it'll get used sort of similarly to how Blasty is used, sort of in spurts.
I think my understanding is there will be some sort of announcements prior to the 26-27 season about various ways they're commemorating the final season, the Saddle Dome, one of which I'm told, as you mentioned, a cool retro jersey that harkens back to the 04 crew. Yeah. There'll be other things too. The words that were used to me was, we have a bunch of stuff planned. It's going to be sweet. And I went, okay, sweet.
I think it would be cool if they had the 04 ones ready for the draft. Can you imagine if they, if they do pick first overall, they have, whoever they pick wearing that jersey? That'd be cool.
I mean, I think you just want to use the regular jersey.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, but they won't wear it in the new building. So what's the point?
But they could. What if they did?
I mean, they could.
They should.
They could do whatever they want.
They should. The 04s are awesome. They should just keep them around all the time. They're fantastic. They only wore them for 3 seasons, and then they got rid of them for the Flags. Ken King's favorites.
The punch in the shoulder ones.
Yeah. Oh.
Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Because that's where it hits home.
Yeah.
That was the line. That was, for those uninitiated, Ken King with the flag jerseys.
The late great president of the Flames, Ken King.
He would go up to people who were wearing that jersey and he would tap them in the stomach.
Calgary.
He'd hit them in the shoulder, Alberta, and he'd hit them in the shoulder again, Canada. And then he'd say, because that's where it hits home. That's Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's anyway. Not.
I like the full retro jersey they have with nothing on the shoulders because it's clean. I like a clean look.
Fantastic. Yeah, it is fantastic. That's pretty much the road ahead. We're looking forward to the blackout jerseys. And if you head up to Platinum Mitsubishi, you can get one of those blackout Outlander Noirs that will be coming back for the 2026 model year with blacked out everything. Can't wait to see those. Thank you to the folks up at 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. Hey, Pike, you going to be heading up to Jasper at the end of next month? You got any travel plans?
I got to cover games.
You got to cover games?
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe they'll send me because I don't have a job. Well, I do have a job. I don't have a hockey coverage job that precludes me from going up to Jasper for what should be a lot of fun. January 23rd to 25th, not Jasper 23rd to 25th, January 23rd to 25th, 2026, the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament at the Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge, the ultimate getaway in the heart of the Rockies, a 4-on-4 pond hockey on the ODR with teams of 4 to 8 players battling it out for the coveted Jasper Cup, and you can hang out with the Nation Network crew. Well, Pike, shouldn't that be you? Folks want to see you.
I don't make these decisions.
Yeah. Well,
I go where I'm assigned to go.
Where you're assigned to go. Well, maybe those will be the games that you'll be covering. Spots fill up fast, so head to nationgear.ca, register your team today, and maybe you'll win. It's the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, and it says here, it's where hockey meets the Rockies. That's a good tagline. That's pretty good. Head on up to the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. We'd love to see you there. If you don't go to the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, number one, how dare you? But number two, maybe we can set you up with a stream or something of that manner over at the Unicorn. That would be an interesting little synergy if we had the Pond Hockey Tournament streaming over to the Unicorn. We might have to make some calls, even if it's not streaming. And quite frankly, maybe it shouldn't be streaming. You probably want to watch something like football or hockey, NHL hockey, maybe PWHL hockey, maybe some basketball, maybe something like that. Head on to the Unicorn. It's Calgary Super Pub, 223 8th Avenue Southwest, 1919 4th Street Southwest. They got 2 locations, 2 times the fun with daily specials, happy hour, and a brunch on Saturday and Sunday. Pike, they got Buck Hunter and pinball.
And darts.
Yeah, the darts that you throw.
Yeah.
That's right. You want to head up there.
If you want the other kind of darts, you have to go outside.
If you want the other kind of darts, you got to go to the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, I think. Maybe something to that matter. Yeah, it's going to be great. We're super excited for that. And if you can't make it there, head on over to the Unicorn. Let's get some super chats, people. There were so many super chats on that gargantuan 12-hour stream that was done by the boys yesterday over at, what was that, at Rhett's house?
It was at Rhett's. Rhett has a beautiful kitchen. I found when if you get a chance to go there, guys, I keep telling Boom this. Boom is he really seems to enjoy baking, and so he was he showed people how to make buns. He got out the stand mixture and is making his own whipped cream.
Yeah,
he said you want to make sure you don't overdo the sugar, because whatever you're having whipped cream on is probably already pretty sweet. So you don't want to have sugar overload. You want you want it to be complementary to what you're eating, much as we are currently complementary towards Boomer's cooking prowess. But yeah, if you get a chance to take a look at Boomer taking over Rhett's kitchen and making some tasty vittles to go along with what looked to be a fantastic turkey. I think they had turkey breast and thighs sort of wrapped in some sort of a sauce or something.
I don't know. I only tuned in late when they were sort of hammered on the couch, but they seem to be having fun.
They took us on a journey, and it was the best 12 hours of programming I've seen since the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And it involves a lot less walking. They just it was a bunch of white people eating on the couch, and it looked delicious.
Yeah, they were certainly well fed by the end of the festivities. It seemed to be a lot of fun. Hey, maybe they'll do a Redux. Maybe I'll get invited next time, something like that. Hey, should we mention the next annual drinking show date for that? Should we get the folks ready? Should we get the folks pumped up?
They'll announce it when they announce.
Has it been announced yet? Stay tuned.
I don't know when they're
keep your finger on the dial. Keep your finger on the dial if that's something that you still do.
It'll be in December before Christmas.
December before Christmas. Somewhere in the last couple of weeks there. You'll want to keep your eyes peeled, because we're going to be having a lot of fun right here at this very studio. So TBA, it's coming out.
I don't know if we're guaranteeing that we'll be having a lot of fun.
I'll be there. I was there last year. I witnessed Rhett playing numerous pranks on our buddy RJ. It was not a fun night for RJ, but it was a fun day for me.
RJ's a nice boy.
He's a good boy.
So is Rhett. Rhett's a nice man.
Rhett is a good man. He's a good man. Even when I compare him to Braden Pahal or something like that. Good comparison. I stand by it.
I'm sure Pahal would have liked to have been to 3 Stanley Cup Finals.
I think Pahal already has his name on the Stanley Cup, Brian Pike.
Yeah, but he didn't play in the final. He didn't play in the final, did he?
He played a little bit, I think.
He played in the final?
I don't know. His name's on the cup. So not bad. That's hey. KN Gant 3M saying, can tell these guys are happily salty. Oilers and Canucks are at the bottom of the pack to keep the Flames company. I was sort of making mention of this during the game. Boy, after 2 straight years of seeing the Oilers and the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final, they are both off to terrible starts.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. Like that. And the Oilers are dreadful.
Standings on the National Hockey League website.
Edmonton's 10-10-5.
The Flames with Utah having 2 games in hand of the Flames are 6 points out.
Start the 2025-26 season.
If you were in Edmonton, you'd just be hanging out at that mall all the time.
I'd be hanging out at the mall. Oh my God. Did you know that I once did a live hit with Yaremchuk on his show while I was staying in the...
And then you leave Edmonton. But he's very excited. My wife and I are both trying to figure out what we wanted to do with him. We're staying downtown. And she's like, I think we got to take him to the mall.
Oh, got to go.
So we got to go to the mall. My brother has never been to Edmonton, never been to the mall. I keep trying to tell him, just imagine it's like Chinook is just bigger.
It's a little different than that.
They took out the roller coaster.
They still got rides.
It's big Chinook now.
They still got water slides.
Okay, the water slides might be tempting.
There's a Bubba Gump.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. You ever been to Bubba Gump?
No.
It's quality. Let's just do a quick pivot from Bubba Gump into the Calgary Health Foundation. A quick pivot.
It's a hard pivot.
It's a hard pivot.
Let's do it.
It's a hard pivot. Folks, you've cheered for Lanny McDonald's comebacks before, but you've seen these ads on TV, and they are really, really something. Lanny's last comeback did not involve a slap shot or anything of that manner. After surviving a cardiac arrest at the Calgary airport, Lanny's greatest assist came from the incredible team over at Foothills Medical Center. He's given back, teaming up with the Calgary Health Foundation to raise funds for upgraded cardiac catheterization labs And these labs help doctors diagnose and treat heart disease faster and better than ever. Go to givehealth.ca to learn more and donate. Any donations from now until December 31st will be matched. So head on over there to givehealth.ca and your donations will be matched before December 31st. Pike, you should do that right now.
I'm just Googling cardiac catheterization.
Catheterization.
It is a medical procedure used to diagnose and treat heart conditions by inserting a thin tube, brackets, a catheter, into an artery in the arm or groin and guiding it into the heart. So they inject a dye in you and they can figure out where the blockages are and how severe they are, those kind of things. So in terms of diagnosing, heart ailments, it's very good and, very specialized. And so I think it's a good thing with, keeping everyone happy and healthy and most importantly alive.
Absolutely.
Anyone who knows folks at the foothills, they're busy and they're just sweethearts. I've had the occasion, unfortunately, to hang out at the hospital with some family members who weren't going through great health at the time, and can't say enough good things about the stuff they're doing there. So yeah, Calgary Health Foundation, I believe they're matching the donations to the 31st of December.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Ooh, so it's a gift.
Double down.
It's a gift that keeps on giving and a gift that will be matched.
That's right. And let's just put it this way. Today's game is the penultimate game of the month of November. So about a full month remaining in the calendar year, from the start of, let's say, the November 30th game against Carolina, I'm going to make a commitment live here on air, Ryan Pike. A commitment live on air. For every point that Connor Zary and Yegor Sharangovich record until the end of December, your boy Mike Gould here will donate $25.
So if they each get 1 point, that's 2 points total. You donate
50.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Each point. You donate $25 to the Calgary Health Foundation, and I encourage you all to find a similar way to make a game out of it and donate to the Calgary Health Foundation. Let's get those two guys off the schneid. They deserve it. So there you go. Go to givehealth.ca to learn some more.
I'll do $20 for every Ryan Lomberg point in December.
Every Ryan Lomberg. Come on. For a Lomberg point, you got to take it up to 50.
No, $20 for every Lomberg
There
point.
you go. 20 points for every Lomberg point. Hey, they double it, so it goes up to about 40. There you go.
So yeah, folks in the chat, folks watching, talk to your friends and Get your own kind of pool.
Make a pool out of it. There you go. Well, I think that pretty much takes us to the conclusion of today's show, unless anybody else in the chat's got anything, or Pike, if you've got anything else. Jux JC saying $100,000 for every Pahal goal. That's
dangerous.
That's young Rhett to you, Jux JC.
Kind of fun. Just looking at the scoring leaders right now on the blue line. Right now, young Matthew Schaefer, 12th in the league in points with 18, tied with him, young Rasmus Anderson with 18. So Rasmus Anderson is a top 20 defenseman in terms of points in the National Hockey League right now. And good for him. Good for him.
I wish nothing but the best for Rasmus, and I eagerly look forward to seeing whatever assets the Flames will be able to recoup when they trade him, assuming that they do. We shall see.
As an aside, Matthew Schaefer turned a hell of a good defenseman by your way. You're like,
talking about guys,
the hardest position to be good at in the NHL that quickly.
Oh my gosh. Talking about guys who are impressive in the American Hockey League at 19. How about guys who are impressive in the National Hockey League at 18?
Yeah.
Playing huge minutes against top competitions. It is unbelievable.
And the only redeeming part of the weird remote draft was the how much they allowed his personal situation to be part of the proceedings with. For those of you unfamiliar, his mom passed away during his draft year, and so when he got drafted, the Islanders had I believe a breast cancer ribbon or something on his sewn onto his jersey, like it was part of the jersey. So yeah, just it's imagining the type of year he went through on a personal level, like something that should have been the most exciting year of his life, had that kind of a tragic tinge to it. I imagine it's probably really exciting for him to sort of have the year he's having. And especially the Islanders, the Islanders, lack of a better term, were very bad last year. And I'm pretty sure if you're an Islanders fan, you're pretty excited about the future of your franchise based on how good Matthew Schaefer is. And he is tied with Rasmus Anderson in points. So that's kind of fun.
I can't wait for the draft, Pike. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm just not a fan of the remote draft. I just hope they keep. I think they should keep every pick to 90 seconds.
They could have the draft.
I don't want to have the. Let's just for programming. Let's just not have the. Okay, go into like the weird viewing room where they have an awkward Zoom meeting with your new GM. Just do that on the team websites. Like the Flames fans, I don't think particularly outside of maybe one or two players like Matthew Schaefer obviously was very compelling because of his situation. Almost everyone else you could have skipped it and no one would have really batted an eye.
They could hold the draft on a flow of ice outside Inuvik, and I wouldn't care as long as it is the draft soon. I want it to be the draft so that the Flames can get some really good players.
Sweet summer child. We got
6 months.
We got 56 games left until it's draft season.
Point of contention, go to Inuvik. Great spot for tourism. Highly recommend the Yukon and Northwest Territories. Good spot. Hey, you heard of Gavin McKenna? He's from up there. He's from...
The name sounds familiar.
You heard of that guy?
He plays in...
Check back with us in June, folks.
Please.
For now, the Calgary Flames defeat the Florida Panthers by a 5-3 final score as we let Ryan Pike continue to percolate over the origins of the player whose name I just mentioned here live on air. We want to thank all of our partners from Bet365 to Platinum Mitsubishi, the Youth Centers of Calgary, Derek Newman Group, the Unicorn on 4th and 8th, the Calgary Health Foundation, and of course, the great folks organizing the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament at the Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge. For Ryan Pike, my name is Mike Gould. The Calgary Flames will be back in action on Sunday afternoon to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in on this Friday afternoon to watch Afterburner.